So this is how to scale so fast with AI, your competition won't be able to keep up. And in the next 60 minutes, I'll hand you the 3 systems that don't sleep, that don't quit, and don't ask for raises. So what you'll walk away with: a system that runs your client onboarding, a system that writes your content from your audience, a system that makes your AI smarter every week. And this is for you if you run a coaching or service business and you're drowning in admin you didn't sign up for, and you've heard use AI but you don't know how. So this is not for you if you're looking for a magic button and you won't do the reps and you think AI is going to replace the work. It will replace people, but if you are a founder, it's not going to replace the things that you need to do every single day. This is Amana. AI is a tool and the niyat is to serve. You guys might not know, but I did a webinar and I went over it and they had early access to this. So the people who are watching on YouTube, you guys are like pretty late, but so stay till the end. The gold is in the last 15. Take notes. Your fingers will remember more than your eyes, and be honest with yourself. You can't fix what you won't admit. So the 3 systems: a roadmap, the onboarding. So the first thing is the onboarding client patterns, the DM scanning for ideas and scripts, the hidden Claude commands, and the 6-week AI sprint. So let's start, bismillah. So the automated onboarding, this replaces your VA and your CSM. So one Friday I closed someone and he left the next week, right? And I was thinking, yo, why did he leave? And when I was on a call with him, like an exit interview, I realized that I had just given him the systems. I actually hadn't onboarded him properly. I haven't set the standards, all because I was busy with other things. Well, not other things, but business, right? And I was the bottleneck. So what this system does, it captures the client once. It books the call, sends the reminders, drafts the brand sheets, the onboarding dashboards, and tracks the check-in calls, and all from one form. So you show up to day 2 with a 90% complete brand document. The client thinks you're a wizard and you haven't lifted a finger since the deposit hit. So you've turned a 4 to 6 hour onboarding process into something that only takes 10 minutes per new client onboarding. So the difference is whether your AI has memory. And this is the only sentence I have to type. Client needs onboarding. And 60 seconds later, what just happened? Client folder is created, the onboarding call is booked, and reminders armed. The brand sheet is drafted from the form data. So the daily operating commands: draft daily check-in with client, so you have a personalized message. Chase client, re-engages a quiet client, and client is churning. And this is the win-back protocol that fires. So before and after. So without the system, 4 to 6 hours per new client, you're constantly chasing someone. Forgotten check-ins, you're surprised by the churn, and the brand sheet is half done. With the system, you have 10 minutes per new client. Claude chases for you, check-ins fire automatically, and the churn is flagged before it lands. And brand sheet and everything that you need to know about the business is already drafted on day 2. And they think you're a wizard, but all it is just your knowledge base, Claude, Graphify, and all the other tech stacks that is also included in this video to ensure that AI has context of your onboarding before they're onboarded, and then the longer that they stay in your program, the more AI knows about them. And there's no such thing as a context window crash because Claude gets rerouted via Graphify and Obsidian. So the section 1 takeaways: onboarding doesn't need a human. You build it once, run it forever, and the how is in the sprint. So the gap. Pause for a moment. While you're watching this, your competitor's AI is replying to leads at 11 p.m. They're personalizing at scale, they're scanning DMs while they sleep, and they've got 6 months of compounding context that you don't. So you're not behind an AI, you're behind on the operators that are already using it. So every week that you wait, that gap doubles. So DM scanning. So your audience writes your content for you. This literally gets rid of your creative director. So every script felt like a guess. And my audience was telling me what to make, I just wasn't listening. And what this system does is it reads every DM, comment, story, reply, and voice note. It pulls the exact phrases your audience uses and builds a language bank you can draw scripts from on demand. So instead of guessing, oh, actually, let me make a video about this, let me make a video about this, you get Claude to extract from this ICP language bank and to make the ideas and the scripts for you, right? Because if someone DMs, comments, reply on a story, send a voice note, there's enough emotional pull for them to take an action, right? It's not guesswork. So one hook from your brain can be turned into 20 hooks a week because your audience hands you those 20. So once a day, what I do is scan my DMs, and what gets surfaced: the exact phrases your audience uses, pain points you didn't know existed, hidden objections before they say them. An example: a hidden objection from the ICP language bank: I'd love to, but I'm just not ready yet. That's not a price objection, that's a confidence objection. Now your next video addresses confidence. Watch it convert. Right? This converts so much, bro. An exact phrase that is pulled from my language bank. I feel like everyone's ahead of me with AI. That phrase, exactly that, becomes the hook because that's how your audience already talks to themselves. So now I turn it into a script, write a script. When I say write a script as well, because it's connected to Notion, it automatically puts the script into my content system, and you can apply it, like I apply this for my clients as well. So let's say I'm running a content agency. Let's say you're a content agency now and you're writing scripts. You can create ideas that is already proven. You can create scripts that's already proven without you even going onto Notion because Claude takes control of your tabs. It runs agents in the background to just do the work for you. Section 3, and this section I almost cut, the hidden commands. So most people use Claude like Google. I use Claude like a co-founder. The 3 hidden commands I use are learn AI fast, so this is taught in your business context, detect gaps in your business, this is something I call capture candidate, and self-learn. So Claude gets smarter every week. So essentially, let's say you do Alex Moses' course, any person's course, right? And you say to Claude, teach me topic in MJC's context, because your Obsidian already has a knowledge base of all your SOPs, of all the course notes that you do, that you've already taught yourself with. Claude teaches itself with the course notes that you've written down, that you've learned from. Audit my system. Claude returns a gap list. There's no politics, there's no guesswork. So let's say, for example, there's a missing link between your DMs and the content, right? You don't know how to create content that converts people into DMs. So there's a missing link there. It returns a gap list when you create this prompt. Self-learn from this. Every conversation makes Claude permanently smarter. So why this compounds? Week 1, Claude is helpful. Month 6, Claude is co-founder. Year 1, Claude is a moat. And Claude didn't change, your vault did. The context is the asset. Run it through the NIA filter. AI is a tool and the intention is yours. So section 3 takeaways. You use Claude like a co-founder, not a search bar. And vault structure beats prompt cleverness every single time. And self-learning loops turn knowledge into a moat. So recap of all 3 systems. The 3 systems are the onboarding. This replaces your VA and CSM. DM scanning replaces your creative director. And the hidden commands replaces your guesswork. So if you apply just one of these, you'd save 10 hours a week. If you applied all 3, you'd outpace 90% of your industry before Ramadan ends. So now you've seen what's possible. The next step isn't more videos, it's a room. And you now know the what, the how takes 6 weeks. So essentially, I'm running a 6-week AI sprint, limited cohort of 9 now because someone got closed during the webinar. So you start the day after you pay. You have the group calls. If you want one-to-ones with me, just DM me on that. And then in week 4, there's going to be a lead gen training, 90 minutes of live training inside the sprint. So the exact lead gen system I run for my clients and walk through end to end. So one of the guarantees that I run is if you close 1 paid client, you win your deposit back. And if you want more information on this, apply here on this tally. It's going to be in the link in this bio, or you can DM me. So now to the Q&A. So getting started structure. How do I set up Obsidian with Claude Code, and what's the best practice to structure files? The answer is this. So Obsidian plus Claude Code, this is the actual setup. So asked by Dayman, Ryan, Athman, Abdurrahman, Ma, and Ahmed Hazem. So this was for the people that was on the webinar, that signed up and they had questions on their own. So it's not that Claude Code that's powerful, it's the files that Claude reads. So Claude is the runtime, Obsidian is the brain, the Vault is the moat, everything else is interchangeable. So why this matters? Most people install Claude Code, paste a prompt and call it a system. 3 weeks later, they're back where they started, re-explaining context, retyping instructions, rediscovering the same answers. A real system is the opposite. The first time you solve a problem, you write it down once in a file Claude can read, and it never has to be re-explained again. And that is what Obsidian plus Claude Code actually unlocks. Not speed, not magic, and is compounding context. The 4-folded skeleton. Everything else is a child of these 4. You have areas, projects, daily logs, and system. So there's ongoing responsibility, which is MJC clients, personal, and friends. And then projects, this is the time-bound initiatives with a defined end. And daily logs, 1 file per day, the session journal. And system, how Claude operates, commands, rules, templates, and setups. So the actual vault. So this is what it looks like. So real output from my actual documents. So there's nothing dressed up. You can copy the exact same thing as here. Inbox, what I run for inbox is, let's say I have a to-do list. I have ideas that come up. I put it into inbox. I write down everything, even content ideas, and then I ask Claude to process inbox. And some things that come up in your head might take multiple steps. So what it does is it separates things into either projects or next actions. Inside areas MJC, so there's context and there's content, YouTube scripts, ideas, products. You have all of this. You have the SOPs. So products is what we sell, SOPs are how we deliver, and it's two different shelves. Areas versus projects. So areas is forever and projects are time bound. So MJC is the business of Musa J Consulting. Clients is ongoing relationship. Personal is life material. Friends, relationship layer, and no end date is always reviewed. So you have these projects, which is the lead magnet for build for client, for example, webinar, funnel launch, remotion video pipeline, and each one has a defined finish line and archived once shipped. So why you split them? Areas hold identity and projects hold work. If you mix them, you'll archive your business. When you ship a project, you'll also lose the ongoing context your business runs on. And this split is borrowed from Tiago Forte's para. It's the only para piece I kept. Drop the rest. Most people overbuild this layer. Claude MD, the routing layer, the single most important file. Claude MD is not documentation. It's the instruction set Claude reads at session start. What Claude MD does. It tells Claude who I am, my name, my business, my principles. It maps every trigger phrase to a command file. So it lists every rule plus when to read it. It logs Claude's confirmed mistakes so they don't repeat, and sets the daily session structure for block day, and it persists. So Claude MD is read at the start of every session automatically. The principle, Claude.md is a routing layer, not a knowledge base. It does not contain the answers. It contains pointers to the files that contains the answers. This matters because Claude has a finite context. If Claude.md tried to hold everything, this file would balloon and slow every session. Instead, Claude.md is small. So it says when Musa says X, read file Y. Claude reads only what it needs. So this is a real excerpt. So this is a daily rhythm that I run. You guys can take this. Run my content briefing. Process inbox. CEO EOD plus problems. Generate content ideas. Write a script. So trigger phrase is on the left, and the file Claude must open is on the right. And real excerpt. Rules read on demand. Wiki links. So editing any file in the vault. There's that MD file that it reads. Script storage. There's the MD file that reads about writing or syncing YouTube scripts. Change logging, every session that modifies anything. Rule change logging.md. Let's say you want to change anything about your business. You want to onboard a new client. You want to onboard a new employee. It's quite easy. Boom, 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 boom. You don't have to go through everyone, and you don't have to go through all your files because it does it automatically for you. So rules sit outside Claude.md. Claude reads them only when the work touches that area. The mistake log inside Claude.md. Yeah, for example, this. All right, every confirmed mistake is logged here, and Claude reads it. So the same error never fires twice. Commands, the verbs of the system, one file per phrase. What is a command? A command is a markdown file that defines what Claude does when I say a specific phrase. When I type process inbox, Claude opens system, Claude commands, daily rhythm, command process inbox.md file, and executes the steps in that file every single time, verbatim. No memory, no interpretation. The file is the command, and this is the difference between a chatbot and an operating system. Like, bro, imagine, how many times have you ever tried to tell your employee or your staff member to do this one thing, but they keep getting it wrong? If you have a proper SOP, right? If there's no mistakes in your SOP, Claude will not make any mistakes. Claude makes a mistake, it's because of your SOP, it's because of your MD file. So the 11th scenario folder. Okay, so I have this is my 11th scenario folder. This is the start / end of my day, GTD inbox. My friend recommended this book. It's called Get Things Done. And essentially, I implemented it into my system about just getting things done, multi-steps, projects. And for example, if there's things that only takes one step to do, it puts it in the next actions. If it takes multiple steps, it puts it into the projects and waiting for and ongoing, if it's simmering, yada, yada, yada. Number 2 is new client, day 1 to 3 onboarding sprint. Client ongoing, weekly warm up, chase intelligence, content production, ideation, scripts, presentations. quality gates, halal screen, edit review, scholar escalation, DM intelligence, DM scan, heat map, language bank. So a heat map is essentially, it rates the ideas on a scale of 1 to 12, right? How many times has this idea been brought up by an ICP? And it brings it to the very top. So every single idea that I create for content, it's already been proven because my ICP keeps reading it back to me. Sales, setter booked, poll voter, follow up. I also have my own CRM, mockup, so starter kit, funnel, and MJC assets, propagate, audit, weekly review, book capture, reading log. When I read books, I love reading books. If you guys don't read books, you need to find time to read books, because if you read books, you're able to apply things into your business that no one else can. They can't replicate it, bro. How many people do you think reads books, right? So if you go outside the norm and you read books and apply it to coaching or whatever like this, bro, that's a unique selling proposition. No one can steal my stuff. No, bro, a lot of people are lazy. They're not going to read books. I implore you to read books. Relationships, friends layer, context the MD, talks the MD. So essentially, I also put my friends in there. When I like to journal, Claude has an understanding of who my relationships are, like who are my friends. Anatomy, command process inbox to MD. So the trigger phrase is process inbox, clean inbox, and inbox 0. So what it does is it reads and classify every inbox item. It rewrites every action verb first and applies the AI behind the mapping. It updates the inbox file. It flags strategic items in output and logs the session to the day's daily log. So what that looks like is, let's say I thought of a business idea last night, not a business idea, but a few things I thought of last night. I process inbox and it adds it to my calendar and it says Musa needs to do this and this and this. These are my next steps. These are things that needs deep works. These are things that requires for you to go over your team with, etc. There's a lot more, but obviously I'm gonna go over it a lot. I can't go over it all right now because there's just so much. So every command file has the same 4 parts. Front matter, so trigger phrases, required reads, expected outputs, required reads block, files Claude must open before acting, numbered steps, explicit, verbatim, no improvisation, and output summary template. So exact format Claude returns to me. Why the pattern matters. When every command follows the same structure, 2 things happen. 1, I can audit the system. Audit command wiring runs a script that checks every command for missing front matter, missing required reads, missing change log step, and phantoms surface. So 2, I can build new commands fast. There's a template, new trigger phrase, new file. It fills the same 4 section and it's done within, I don't know why I put 20 minutes. Like, bro, it takes seconds. Real command. So command here is content ideas. So I just say to Claude, read. So before generating any content ideas, Claude must read areas, MJC, which is obviously Musa Consulting. There's context, active campaigns, and then the DM heat map. So if it's longer than 24 hours old, it runs command DM heat map first. So read areas, MJC, context, ICP, language bank info. Read existing ideas and areas, MJC, content ideas. This is a non-negotiable. Ideas must be grounded in real audience language and prioritized by live demand. So the explicit hierarchy of reads. Active campaigns before heat map, before language bank. So that means that if I have active campaigns and it's working well, Claude will keep rinsing that. And let's say the active campaign has died. It reads the DM heat map. People that are DMing me about a certain problem over and over and over again, because society is just a collective consciousness. If you're able to understand one person's thinking, you're able to understand a majority of people's thinking. That's source right there. And then the ICP language bank. So you speak to them exactly how they speak to you. They feel heard, right? And you're able to do this at scale because Claude just does it for you. Rules, the constraints that govern every command. Commands versus rules. So what Claude does, triggered by a phrase, numbered steps, 1 per workflow, 26 commands today. And the rules, this is the constraints, how Claude must behave. You read on demand by commands, conditions and gates, 1 per concern, and 15 plus rules today. The 2 kinds of rules. Read on demand. Claude opens the rule only when work touches that area and always loaded, so lives inline at the bottom of Claude.md. The self-learning rule. After every substantive response, Claude scans the vault for whether what just happened is already captured. If it isn't, Claude appends a capture candidate, block, topic, and suggested file path. Suggested memory entry, related note, and gap is detected. I reply Y to save, N to skip, or edit, path to relocate, and nothing gets auto-written. This is why nothing gets lost. Knowledge generated in chat evaporates unless persisted. So the rule forces persistence. Halal content standards. This is the non-negotiable. So loaded inline in Claude.md, read every session. Claude must never suggest, write, or reference music in any content. Mixed gender imagery conflicting with Islamic modesty. Haram lifestyle markers as aspiration. Manipulative CTAs or manufactured scarcity. All content framing uses nasiha based persuasion only. When the rule lives in the file, Claude reads at session start. The deviation is impossible. It's filtered before the first token is generated. Auto memory. So what Claude Code remembers between sessions. Memory lives outside the vault. So memory.md is the index. The detail lives in topic files and Claude pulls the index every session. So the 3 file prefixes. There's this, and then there's the real memory.md entry. So this is 1 line under 200 characters. Detail lives in the linked typed file. So clusters are essentially things that link together, essentially. SOPs and systems that link together. So heat maps and content ideas, they link together. Why memory is separate from the vault. The vault is what I edit. Memory is what Claude remembers. If they were in the same file, every memory entry would clutter my workspace. If memory lived only in the chat, it will die with the session. So memory.md sits at users, Musa, Claude projects memory and gets pulled automatically into every session across every conversation in this project without me asking. This is what makes the system feel like one continuous mind. Graphify, the always on knowledge graph that ties it all together. Every SOP, command, rule, and KB file is a node in a knowledge graph. So how Graphify works, every file links to others using wicked links, Obsidian native syntax. Graphify reads every link, builds a graph, it clusters by community. Output is Graphify out, Graphify underscore report.md plus Graphify out, wiki index.md. So before answering where does X live, Claude reads the graph first. After every SOP / rule / KB edit, I run Graphify update. So after any SOP rule, I run Graphify update. So it keeps the knowledge graph current. It surfaces orphan nodes. So orphan nodes are just things that don't link together. This SOP don't link to the SOP. I run Graphify update, Claude links it together. So now if that SOP needs to be brought up ever again or whatever this node is, it also gets linked to this other system. So a weekly full rebuild runs every Friday before the weekly review. And then the compounding curve, week 1 to year 1, what actually changed. To be honest, bro, you can change a lot in your business within a month. You install Claude Code. So this is like giving it like space, bro. If you don't do any work, this is what it looked like. So install Claude Code, you create a vault folder, you write Claude.md with your name, your business, 3 trigger phrases. It feels small, slow, like you're typing into a void. And this is correct. The vault is a seed. There's no compounding yet because there's nothing to compound on. But you do it anyway. Day 1 is the most important day in this whole curve. Not because of what you build, but because you started. By month 1, you have 10 commands. By month 1, I had like 90. But let's say you're someone that isn't hungry for this. You have 10 commands, 3 rules. Claude.md is 5 KB. Memory has 15 entries. The shift, you stop re-explaining context. When you say process inbox, Claude knows what that means without prompting. So you catch yourself thinking in commands. You realize the question isn't what do I want Claude to do? It's what file do I need to write so Claude does this every time. This is the first compounding moment. By month 6, you have 26 commands, 15 rules. And Claude is 33 KB. Memory is 28 KB. Daily logs reach back 6 months. And the Graphify graph has 200 nodes. What's actually different? You don't think about the system anymore, you think about the work. When something new happens, a new client signal, a new offer, a new mistake, you write it down and it stays written. Claude wires it in next session automatically. And by year 1, the Vault has more institutional knowledge than most teams. Notion plus Drive plus Slack combined, because it was captured the first time it appeared, not retroactively. New operators can be onboarded by handing them the starter pack zip. They inherit the system without the law. And Claude Code becomes a multiplier on judgment, not a replacement for it. You spend your hours where they actually matter, which is building, selling, leading. And this is what AI inside the business actually looks like. So how to start today without overthinking it. Your first 90 minutes, install Obsidian, create a Vault folder anywhere on disk, install Claude Code, point it at the Vault folder, create Claude MD at the Vault root, 3 sections, who I am, commands, rules, create system, Claude commands, and write your first command file. Create the daily logs and write today's date as file, log your first session. The trap to avoid: do not spend day one building the perfect folder structure. The folders evolve. Mine started with 4, they grew to 11 folders, plus 15 rules, plus a graph, plus a memory layer, but I didn't plan that. I added each piece the day I needed it. So if you try to build it all on day 1, you'll burn out before day 7. And build the smallest thing that solves today's problem and let the system grow under load. You capture once and you reuse forever. That's the entire system. So if you want the whole system, what you've seen is one slide of one question. So the full operating system, every command, every rule, the templates, the starter pack, the live builds run inside the AI sprint cohort. 6 weeks, there's 9 seats. Again, if you want to apply for it, go on Instagram or the tally link. I think it should be on my bio in my Instagram. So in week 1, you install Obsidian plus Claude Code with you live, and then I do that with you live. Week 2, build your first 5 commands on your business. Week 3, one-on-one strategy call. Week 6, ship a paid result or get your money back. So I run a guarantee win your money back if you close 1 paying client during the sprint. 6 weeks, 9 seats, win your money back. So the next questions that people had, it was asked by Mamado, also asked by Elias, was how do I learn AI automation and sell my service to businesses? How do I find clients? So this slide answers that question. Getting clients, the MJC acquisition engine. So how I find, qualify, and close clients without cold outbound, paid ads, or manipulation. So it was asked by these guys that was on the webinar. Shout out to you guys. So client acquisition is an outbound. It's becoming findable, answerable, and bookable. So most people learn AI for 6 months, then wonder why no one is buying. They built the skill, but they never built the engine. And the principle why outbound is the slowest path. So 2 ways to build a pipeline. Outbound only. There's cold DM lists, cold email sequences, spray and pray volume, rejection stacks first. Trust is never built with outbound only, and it stops working the moment you stop sending, and there's no compounding. An engine is content that surfaces you to the right people, free value mockups that earn replies, set a layer that handles inbound at scale, trust built before the conversation starts and compounds month over month, and it works while you sleep. I think question 4 of the original slide, there is, if you still want to do outbound, I'll go over it, but I'm telling you now that outbound is probably the weakest lever that you can pull, bro. The core insight: when a Muslim brother asks how do I get clients, they're really asking 3 things. How do I make people care about what I do? How do I make them trust me before they pay me? How do I make booking a call frictionless? Every layer of the MJC acquisition engine answers one of those 3. None of it is cold outbound. None of it is garal. All of it is sidq plus nasiha. The 3-layer engine: inbound, outbound, and seta. So the 3 layers: content engine, DMs become heat map, becomes reels, and it becomes DMs. Mockup icebreaker, 5-minute netlify, deploy as a free gift, not as a pitch. And seta, convert every qualified DM into a booked, briefed, prepared call. So inbound makes them find you, outbound makes them notice you, and the seta makes them book. So inbound, the content engine that books calls in your sleep. The inbound failure pattern. So most creators post content and hope someone DMs. The MJC engine inverts it. If you read the DMs first to find out what's hot, you make content from those exact phrases. That content triggers more DMs from people who feel the same, and the new DMs feed the next round of content. The loop is DMs, heat map, ideas, reels, DMs. It closes on itself. Every post compounds the next one. So the inbound loop: DMs come in, cold inbound, store replies, comment to DM, scan my DMs. It pulls every phrase into the language bank. It's date stamped and sourced. Scores themes by recency, frequency, intensity, and buying. There's create content ideas. It generates a slate anchored to the hottest themes. Reels ship. The audience sees their own words mirrored back, and more DMs come in. The loop closes, and every reel triggers more signal. So the first daily command is scan my DMs. Every morning, this command reads my Instagram DMs, primary plus general, and extracts pain, desire, objection, identity, trigger, buying signals, and it writes into the ICP language bank with the Instagram handle plus date plus source tag. So what the scan deliberately ignores: casual friend conversations, group chats, brand or spam accounts, the request tabs, nice post type one-liners with no signal. And for example, from the heat map, this is someone actually said, send me the link, I'll sign up, let me know your availability, and we can have a call. Theme: halal money with AI starting from scratch. So I need help. I need help kind of starting a business from scratch. What do you actually do? So the theme here is positioning friction. So are you mainly focused on AI lead acquisition right now? Prioritization layer, DM heat map, and this regenerates automatically. The clusters phrases into themes, and it scores each theme on four axes. On four axes: recency, frequency, intensity, and buying. So that's the heat tier. So for example, halal money with AI slash starting from scratch that had an 11 out of 12. The action is a mini series this week. Exhibit A, mom reel emotional opening. So 5 ideas drafted and shipped. There was a video that went pretty viral of mine about when I talked about my mother. And then this, and then this, and then this also. So this is a real live heat map. 85 phrases scored and the Muslim AI operator theme. So this is Mamadou alias Ahmed. If you guys are watching, salam. The weekly command: create content ideas. This reads active campaigns, heat map, language bank, existing ideas, and generates a slate organized by theme. This is the hottest first. Hot themes get top of funnel plus middle funnel, and blazing themes get a cluster. So top of funnel plus middle funnel plus short form. So why this becomes a client engine? Every reel anchored to a real DM phrase does three things. It pulls in more DMs from people with the same problem, so that's the loop. It pre-qualifies them by the time they DM, they self-identify as the ICP. Number three, it builds the trust that closes the call before the call happens. And the result, by the time someone books, they don't need persuading, they need confirming. 4 out of 5 calls booked from inbound DMs across the last quarter, 0 from cold outbound. Let's say when you do want to reach out with outbound, please lead with a gift. Don't pitch, ship a free deliverable and before you ask for anything. So the mock-up icebreaker: pick a halal business you'd love to work with, spend 5 minutes building a one-page mock of what their site could look like, deploy it to Netlify, which is what you use to host your website, DM them the URL with 3 honest caveats and an offer to chat. There's no pitch, no invoice, no are you interested in our services, just I made you something, 3 caveats, want me to walk you through it. And within 5 minutes, you'll have a live URL. Mockup brief for business, and then ship mockup is just the URL. So with phase A, it asks 7 essentials, writes the Claude design prompt, and the files get sent. So in phase B, it fetches the bundle from mockup brief, it runs halal gates and deploys it to Netlify CLI automatically. And Musa's on your review point is the live URL. And bro, I say create mockup for this guy, and Claude comes back with a link, a live link. You know what I'm saying? So the 7-question intake: what you need to build a mock. Category, cultural signal, palette direction, 3 signatures, contact, web presence to beat. So let's say if they have an existing site's URL, and logo. So why this beats a cold DM 100 times over? It shows that you have skin in the game. They see you already invested time in them. Specificity: the mock includes their name, the menu items, the colors, the honest, and you're honest. 3 caveats up front. It's reversible. There's no hard ask, just a walkthrough offer, and it's self-qualifying. Only people who care enough to book a call respond. The send ready outreach message. You can copy this message right here. Salam, built a 5-minute concept of what X could look like as a full site. Happy to jump on a quick call if you'd like to see where we take it. So what we never do in outbound: no fake testimonials, no fabricated halal certification claims, no limited spots / countdown time manipulation. Like some of you guys, bro, if I click on your website, if the timer at the top keeps refreshing, it's gonna put me off instantly. All right, so don't do that. If you have a website, don't do that. And then no sending the same template to 50 businesses in one batch. The 60-day takedown rule: every prospecting mock auto creates a calendar reminder for 60 days out. If the prospect hasn't converted by then, we delete the Netlify site. Why? The stale mocks compound into clutter. Worse, a prospect Googling themselves and finding a 2-year-old fabricated mock is a deal breaker. So Amana is built into the process, not bolted on. Set a layer. So this right here turns warm signal into booked, briefed, prepared calls. So why you need the setter? Once inbound plus outbound is firing, you'll get more qualified DMs than you can handle. The setter's job, convert a qualifying DM into a booked, scripted, briefed call, not persuasion, not closing, just qualify, book, and hand a fully prepared call to the closer, you. So for me, so I'll give you guys a perspective about sales calls. Let's say your iPhone, right? Did you need a sales call for your iPhone? No. Why? Because you love the iPhone so much that you don't need anyone to be convinced. You love the product so much. So for example, this right here, I don't even run sales calls anymore. I just send to people my link, like the checkout link, because like alhamdulillah, I've worked on my product so much that there's so much demand that I can just send links. I don't need convincing because there's so many people that already want my stuff. There's already high enough demand for it. And that's how you need to look at your product or your service from that point of view. If you have a demand problem, focus on your product. Okay? The reason why you're doing sales is because you don't know marketing. The reason why you're doing marketing is because you don't have a good product. So the trigger, setter booked, name from org. When a setter lands a call, they say one phrase. Claude asks one question. The decision maker or board champion then finds the existing Calendly event and upgrades it. So what the event gets upgraded with: pre-call prep checklist, a 7-phase call structure, objection quick reference, original Calendly intake answers preserved below, and calendar color change to discovery blue / board yellow. Reminder set 30 minutes and 10 minutes before. Like, bro, like I've had sales training before. I know how to do the like pre-handling the success values, the cost of inaction, and that, like, sales coach, if you're a sales coach watching this, bro, you need to start moving into something that has a lot more, what you call it, substance. Yes, sales will always be a thing, but I'll tell you now, with the way AI is moving, and it's moving pretty crazy. There's already like AI receptionists, there's already the AI setters. Majority of it is right now like kind of terrible. But if you want something that lasts, build a product or a service and expand into something outside of, let's say if you're running a coaching business, expand outside of coaching. I promise you, please expand outside of coaching, because coaching is going to die soon. Before I actually get into this, the reason why coaching is going to die soon is because what is coaching, right? It's knowledge and implementation. This right here crunches the knowledge time down to 0, and all you're doing is straight implementation. People will buy from me over you because I don't send them I don't show them video modules. I don't do this or that. I just say, look, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get this from the moment you sign on board. I don't promise anything but results, right? If you do this with me. So essentially there's no vagueness. So that's the thing with coaching, bro. Like, if your coaching relies on video modules and relying on clients to pay for them, you need to understand that the industry is moving in a way where knowledge is now being like compounded in a way where it's exponentially growing. So what that means is the rate at learning something takes almost 0 skill. So decision maker can close on the call. Color is discovery blue. You can copy this example. Color is present. The goal is the present, handle close. There's the 7-phase script, and an investment number lands on call. The board champion. So these are people that don't make the decisions. These are the trustees / partners. And then the other setter command. So follow up, poll voters. So after a webinar opt-in poll, this command DMs every voter who hasn't signed up and cross-references the sign-up sheet. Batches of 5 with explicit go-aheads, so it never spams and never duplicates. So this is for, let's say, when you run a webinar, you can have Claude take control of your Google tab and just send DMs to your Instagram. So why this command exists, the fail-safes. Cross-references sign-up sheet, you never DM people who already signed up. Flags ambiguous handle matches for your eyeballs. Hard-coded skip list, it never DMs your own alt accounts. JS paste only, it never types. Screenshots after every send, so it verifies the bubble actually appeared, and stops after 2 failures and 1 batch. So the IG rate limit god, essentially. So what MJC never does in acquisition: no 3 spots left, countdown, scarcity manipulation, no fake urgency, fake testimonials, fake case studies, no price anchoring, no riba, no mass call DM, no act now or lose forever framing, the Islamic free frame. So when the standard playbook says manufacture urgency, we say only 3 spots left. It's the car first, then decide. So don't miss out. Act now. So Muslims buy slower, they verify deeper and rely on community referrals more than general market buyers. The system is designed for trust velocity, not a conversion velocity. Longer cycles are a feature, not a bug. So trust velocity is much more important than conversion velocities. Referrals are more important than clicks, and clarity is more important than urgency. One real flow. So this is what it looks like if you want to get a single DM to a book call. So you're tracing one lead through the engine. DMs after a reel. Send me the link, I'll sign up. I scan my DMs, that command right there catches it. There's the buying signal, and then it adds it into the heat map. The phrase joins the halal money with AI cluster. So there's now 9 phrases there with 8 handles, 8 other people that has said the exact same thing. You create content create content idea surfaces the cluster. It generates 3 idea files, and the idea how to make halal money with AI, no one is answering, goes into production. So the reel ships 10 more DMs coming in saying the exact same thing. So one DM has many touch points. There's one DM, there's a theme, there's 3 ideas, there's 1 reel, there's 10 plus DMs, there's 3 to 5 calls, and then there's 1 to 2 clients. So compounding, what this looks like at month 1, month 6, and year 1. The compound curve, you have your first scan, 5 phrases, 1 reel, maybe 1 DM in. And then by month 1, you have 30 phrases. First inbound call from a reel, first markup ships. Month 3, heat map is alive, first set to handoff, first close inbound client, and then by month 6 in year 1, you've got lots of phrases already in your language bank. So why competitors can't copy this? They can copy your reels, they can copy your offer, they can even copy your markup template. They cannot copy your audience's exact phrases over a 6-month window and the specific themes that have heated and cooled in your DMs. The setter call scripts trained on your objection patterns, and this isn't creative output, it's a research mode. The longer it runs, the further ahead it gets. Learning the skill, 2 questions and then build. Back to the original question. Mamadou asked, how do I learn AI automation and find clients? The trap most brothers fall into is they think these are 2 separate problems. They are not. The best way to learn AI automation is to build the very engine that finds you clients. Every scan, every heat map, every mockup, every set of command, that is your AI training. By the time the engine is running for you, you've already built 10 client grade automations. So the 2-step pattern. Build the engine for yourself first. DMs, heat map, markup, setter. Once it works, productize the same components for clients. Your case study. Your case study is your business. They pay you to install what you already built. The technical skill stack inside the engine. So I have so much more now, but all you need is Claude Code plus MCP service, a Markdown Vault, which is Obsidian as your single source of truth, AppScript plus Google Sheets for any form capture, Netlify CLI for instant deploys, Whisper plus FFmpeg for content production, or Readymotion if you want to replace your editor with the AI editor. The industry right now is not really at the level where it can replace a editor, but I give it like a few months. Cron/Cowork for daily automated runs. So where to go next? The path forward. You don't need more leads, you need a loop. Stop chasing, start compounding, let the engine bring them to you. So I'm going to bring this back again to the 6-week AI sprint. If you want the full install, apply through the tally or just DM me on Instagram. So the third question is, how do I train AI to write scripts that sound like me, not like AI slop, and how to make great content for clients without a ton of context on them? Cool. This was asked by Asalan, also asked by Zaid. Let's get straight into it. So how I gather content ideas that sound like me, no prompts, no AI slop, the exact system that runs my content engine. Asked by Asalan and asked by Zaid, how do I train AI to write scripts that sound like me? You don't train AI on your voice. You train AI on your audience's voice. Then your voice fills in the space between their words. So the principle here is to stop guessing and to start mirroring. So where most creators go wrong, what they do is they open ChatGPT, write me 10 hooks about productivity, copy paste, edit lightly, and sound like everyone else, and the audience doesn't react. But what I do is I open my DMs, I read what my audience already said, I quote them exactly, sounds like them and me, and audiences react because it's their words. So why this works? Your voice has two layers. The words you choose, these are yours, and the problems you address, these belong to your audience. So most creators get layer 1 right and layer 2 wrong. They sound like themselves saying generic things. Mirror the audience's exact phrases on layer 2, then layer 1. You mirror voice. Your voice is doing the framing, not the guessing. So the 4-layer flow, how an idea is born. Again, this is extremely similar to what I talked about earlier already. Scan my DMs, DM heat map, create content ideas, and write a script. So scan my DMs, post every DM, comments to reply into the language bank, scores for, and then the heat map scores these phrases. Create content ideas, reads the heat map, and then generates ideas anchored to the hot themes. Write a script, pulls the idea. The write a script pulls the idea plus my voice profile plus the exact ICP phrases. Scan my DMs captures the audience's exact words. So once a day, one phrase. Scan my DMs. It reads every DM since the last scan. Attracts pain statements, desire statements, objection, exact phrases, and appends them to the ICP language bank with handle, date source, and full context. So what gets pulled into the language bank? Pain statements. I feel like everyone's ahead of me with AI. Desire statements. I want a system that doesn't sleep. Objections. I'm not technical enough. Exact phrases. My brain doesn't work that way. Trigger events. My brother got cancer. I'm trying to build this. So this is someone that is opening up to, you know what I'm saying, like to me as a person. And if someone is opening up to me and I'm scaling, I need to be able to spot this person right here so I can give them the time. Because as you're scaling your business, you might be cluttered up with so many things because you don't have the right system that you can't pay attention to people that actually need paying attention to. The quote exactly rule. If they said behind, don't write struggling. If they said clueless, don't write unsure. If they said AI slop, don't write low quality content. Language is loyalty. The closer you stay to the exact word, the more it feels like you read their mind. So from the DM heat map. So the theme here is I'm not the tech person. My brain doesn't work that way. So this is a DM that I got. Brother, would love the walkthrough / guidance on the setup. There's another one. I need help kind of starting a business from scratch. And I captured 85 phrases in 30 days while scaling my business. DM heat map, the scoring layer that surfaces what's hot. What the heat map does, the language bank is a flat list of phrases. It's useful, but you cannot ideate from a flat list. You'll pick the loudest and not the hottest. A heat map clusters phrases into themes. So it then scores each theme on 4 dimensions: recency, frequency, intensity, and buying, which is heat. That equals to heat. Result, a sorted list of what your audience cares about right now, not last month, not in general. The heat formula. So the recency, has it been said in the last 7 days, the last 14 days, the last 30 days, and this is the scoring formula. And then obviously the 3+ is obviously like the higher it is, the more it shows up on the heat formula. So this is what my current heat map looks like. Heat tells me what to make. Language bank tells me how to write it. So create content ideas where the magic actually happens. I type one line, bro. Create content ideas. Claude reads active campaigns, then DM heat map, then language bank, and existing ideas folder. Then generates a slate organized by theme. Hottest themes first. So what Claude reads in this exact order: active campaigns at MD, what funnel is live right now, so every CTA aligns. DM heat map that MD, what themes are hot, so I'm not ideating from cold phrases. ICP language bank MD, exact phrases for sub themes not yet clustered. Areas /MJC /content /ideas to avoid duplicating drafts. Contacts any other ICP backgrounds. If the heat map is older than 24 hours, it auto regenerates first. So every idea that comes through is always fresh. So how tiers become ideas. So blazing theme, there's a top of funnel anchor, middle of funnel expansion, and short form pull through. So this is a cluster, it's not just one idea. Then in the hot theme is top of funnel plus middle funnel. One theme is single top of funnel or middle funnel. Themes flagged, covered, or skipped. And often phrases ideate last, so only after every hot theme is addressed. A real idea file generated the 2nd of May. So idea, what MJC actually does, the 1-paragraph version. Claude scanned my DMs and extracted this, rated it 7 out of 12 because so many people have already asked me the exact same thing. So it even tells me the exact date. So anchor phrases, 5 distinct handles. I was confused. I thought you were creative directing. And then someone saying, yo, bro, do you mentor? Are you main focus on AI lead acquisition? Do you recommend consulting or automation? Also, what exactly do you do? The hook Claude wrote is 5 different people in the last 2 weeks asked me to explain why I actually do. So this is the 1 paragraph version, pinned, monthly updated, and yes, I get why it was confusing. So the notice here is it opens with a frequency signal, 5 different people. The heat map made that observable. Without it, I'd write, some people have asked. That's vague, that's weak, and that's generic. Why this one lands? The hook is built on real frequency data. It's not invented urgency. The question is in their words. The format is dictated by the medium. The CTA is informed by active campaigns. So none of this came from my imagination. All of it came from reading what was already there. So write a script where your voice fills in the gaps. The final command here is write a script. It pulls the chosen idea, my voice profile, the exact ICP phrases, and Claude doesn't write from scratch, it assembles. Where my voice lives. Claude has access to 30 of my YouTube scripts I've actually filmed, my pinned story sequences, my vaults, voice notes, the way I talk about specific topics, my objections, my hot takes, my one-liners, my filter, what I will and won't say on camera. And Claude doesn't generate my voice, it quotes my voice, the same way it quotes the audience. The 2 input stack, the audience layer and then my layer. So quoted exactly. The hook, this is the pain phrase, the questions they asked, the objections and the words, the phrase that made me stop. My layer, the reframe, my POV, the one-liner I always use, the Quranic anchor / dua, the CTA in my tone. So it's the simple test. Read the script out loud. If the hook feels like something a stranger said to you in the DMs, good, that's their voice. If the framing feels like something only you would say, good, that's your voice. If both feel right, you've got a script that doesn't sound like AI slop. It sounds like a conversation between you and the person you're trying to reach. So why this compounds? This is the flywheel. So the compound curve. 5 phrases, 1 hook, 30 phrases, 5 themes emerging. This by month 1. By month 3, the heat map is alive. Hot themes self-selecting. By month 6 and year 1, bro, you should be making M's. Why your competitors can't copy this? They can copy your scripts. They can copy your hooks. They can even copy your edit style. They can't copy your audience's exact phrases over a 6-month window. And that's not creative output, that's a research mode. The longer you run the system, the further ahead you get without making any single video harder to make. So run it through the near filter, mirror their words, but speak your truth. So to run this yourself, these are the 4 commands that you need. Scan my DMs, heat map regenerates, create content ideas, and write a script. So don't write what you think they want, quote what you know they said. And stop guessing, start listening. The scripts will write themselves. So if you want to install this one of 3 systems inside the 6-week AI sprint, just apply through the tally. So the final last question is scaling with AI. How do I scale with AI? How do I dominate and become a leader in my industry when I'm running an agency and working a 9 to 5? Scaling with AI, the leverage stack. How to dominate your industry while running an agency and a 9 to 5. So Hassan and Amr, this for you guys. So leverage isn't more hours, it's compounding context. If you only have 2 hours, the question isn't how long you work, it's what your system did while you didn't. The deprivation, what's already happening to you. While you work your 9 to 5, your competitor's AI is running their business. It's processing their inbox, it's drafting the content, it's prepping their sales calls, and it's tracking their clients. They're not working harder than you, they're not even working longer than you. They just have a system that doesn't sleep when they do. So the wrong question versus the right question. This is the wrong question that you need to stop asking yourself. How do I find more time? How do I work faster? How do I quit my 9 to 5 sooner? How do I hire VAs, COOs, setters, closers to fix this? How do I clone myself? The right question that you need to ask is, how does my system run when I'm gone? How does today's work compound into tomorrow? What does Claude do at 6:50 a.m. before I wake up? Where am I doing the same task twice? What change can I propagate once and have it stick everywhere? The principle, compounding context. So what is compounding context? Every conversation, every client note, every script, every DM, extraction, every SOP, it all lives in the vault. Claude reads it, indexes it, auto-memorizes the pattern. The vault you have on day 1 is dumb. The vault you have on day 90 is sharp. The vault you have on day 365 is uncopyable. But to be honest, if you just run it up rapid, by month 1, you've become an industry leader. So this is the mode, not the prompts, not the templates, the context. Accumulated, structured, and queryable. More hours equals linear gain, and more context equals exponential gain. The 4-block day, the architecture, not just a calendar. So there's the command center. This is what my day looks like. There's a command center. AI runs the morning before you wake up. Revenue generation, sales, filming, KPIs, deep work, single focus session, one task, and then the evening close. I read, I log my CEO EODs, I log the problems that I have. And then if you have 2 hours, you only need block 1 plus block 4, and that's it. So block 1 is command center, 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. before you even open Claude. So these are, in Claude, there's something called routines, and you can have it set so it runs daily. So this is what my day looks like. Personal Fajr plus morning routine. So this is automatically, Chrome scans Instagram DMs, extracts ICP language, and the language bank gets updated and the heat map regenerates. So by the morning wins audit, 5-minute review. By 7:15 a.m., I open Claude and everything is already preloaded. By 7:15, I haven't lifted a finger and the system already worked for 25 minutes. And it's done. Like, majority of people, like what people get paid 2 to 3K for a month. Block 1, the 5 commands. Run my content briefing, pipeline state plus today's 3 priorities. Run daily fulfillment briefing, every active client, overdue flags, MJC commitments, check onboarding forms, any new clients to onboard today, process, get things done inbox. So the inbox is just things that I put in there to essentially route to its destination. Like the things that I need to get done, either then like immediately or a multi-step project. Extract DM data, any DMs that auto scan missed. 30-minute to run all 5 commands, then close the session. Block 1 is done. Run my content briefing. It reads active campaigns plus KB business plus language bank plus Notion content pipeline. Returns pipeline state, stored items, top 3 priorities for today, halal screen. Run daily fulfillment briefing. It reads every active client folder, flags 48 hours overdue material, and returns per client outstanding deliverables. MJC commitments and there's real blockers in here. Command 4, process GTD inbox. So GTD is from a book. I didn't read it. I just told Claude to read it and implement it into my business. So the book is called Get Things Done. It reads inbox.md. GTD classifies every item, reach the next actions, projects, and waiting for, someday maybe, and returns to 0 inbox plus strategic items flagged. So if you have an assistant, fire her, bro. This is something that replaces your assistant. 30 minutes of input, 4 hours of pre-organized output. Blocks 2 and 3, where you actually do the work. Block 2, revenue generation. Monday, prospect list prep, Saturday briefing, cold calling. Tuesday, filming block. Wednesday, filming block. Thursday, KPI review, pipeline analysis, language bank review. And Friday, Juma light day. Actually, before we continue, don't fire your assistant, because I realized that might be really bad for their family. So, like for example, if you make money, bro, try, and there's people that relies on you, reroute them into something that can continuously pay them, right? Because AI is not meant to remove people's job. It's meant to make your life easier. So block 3, deep work. I have client work, systems, content, and sales rep. There's the onboarding, SOPs, script writing. And block 4, evening close. So the 5-minute EOD command. So CEO EOD, I just list problems that I had from today. So it creates a 9 a.m. calendar reminder for tomorrow. The red pop up on the dot and archives completed actions silently. So 5 minutes of input. Tomorrow's first action is already on the calendar. To close a problem, resolved problem. Marks the problem as closed in the log. Deletes the calendar reminder. The loop is closed without admin friction. The multiplier, 1 command in every file is synced. There is 1 command that does in 90 seconds what used to take 30 minutes per client. Propagate change. This might not look like it's a lot, but bro, this is a game changer. Categorizes the change, scans tier 1, which is your Claude, tier 2, which is your SOPs, tier 3, every active client, tier 4, your supporting docs, and finds every file that conflicts and updates them all in one session. I'll leave you with that. So real example, propagate, onboarding call moved from day 3 to day 2. Files Claude touched in one pass. So the files that Claude will change are all of these things. So Claude MD, command reference, KB05 systems, onboarding SOP, fulfillment SOP, calendar event template, and every active client folder. So the result here is this: 12 files already updated. There's zero stale references and zero conflict. If you're working with 50 to 70 to 80, even 100 clients, like how many times are you gonna, how many things are gonna conflict with each other if you don't have this in your system, right? So the math behind the multiplier. So if it's manual, it takes around 3 minutes per file, 36 minutes for the 12 files, and errors, 1 to 2 missed files. So we propagate this one command right here. Per file, it's basically light speed. 12 files takes a minute and a half, and then with errors, 0 missed files. So every active client gets the change at the same moment. No one falls behind and no one gets the old version, and there's no follow-up admin. Like, you learn something new and you want to update everyone through your whole entire coaching business. You won't be able to do that at scale if you're DMing every single one. Hey, hop on a sales call, we're doing this new thing. Nah, bro. Get Claude to change all the systems and everyone gets updated automatically. So why this compounds? The volt gets sharper every single day. The compounding curve. Week 1, volt is empty. Claude is a generalist. By month 1, you have 10 SOPs in, 1 client, and Claude knows your ICP. By month 3, heat map is alive. Auto memory recognizes patterns. Month 6, every command knows your halal lines, your offers, your team. By year 1, you have a moat. The 3 layers that compound. The volt, so every SOP, client node, script, DM extraction stays forever. Auto memory, Claude remembers patterns across sessions without re-prompting. And Graphify, every file is a node in your knowledge graph, and Claude finds related nodes. Prompts are a commodity. Context is a moat. So why competitors can't copy this? They can copy your commands. They can copy your Claude MD. They can even copy your SOP names. They cannot copy 6 months of your client notes, your DM extractions, your halal screen decisions, your NIA filter, your voice profile. The system without your context is a shell. The context without your system is chaos. The two together over time becomes the unfair advantage. So for the 9 to 5 operator, your real constraint here is you don't have 8 hours. You have 2 hours weekday plus your weekends. And that's that's a feature, not a bug. So it forces you to build a system that runs autonomously, a system that processes while you're at the day job, a system that compounds context even on the days you don't touch it. So the 9 to 5 operator's schedule. This is what your schedule could look like, right? So what you do, block 1 to 5 commands, and then you have your day job. Block 4, you have the CEO EOD, Saturday morning and then Sunday morning. And what the system does is it DM scans. The DM scan is run at 6:50. Your briefing's ready by 7:15. The setter runs DMs, auto memory captures, and Vault sleeps. So tomorrow, and then after that, on weekday 9 to 10 p.m. tomorrow's red reminders is set. Well, you could work a 9 to 5 if you're still in that position and you want to transfer into having your own business. 12 hours a week of focused operator time plus 7 days a week of system running in background is a full agency. You have a full agency right there and then. Your 9 to 5 is paying for the runway while your AI builds the runway. Okay? Because I've been in that position where I had to balance everything out. But with AI, you can leave your 9 to 5 so quickly if you just implement it. The trap to avoid: don't try to ruin the agency in 2 hours. Build the system that runs the agency. 2 hours of CRM work is 2 hours of scattered output. 2 hours of building one new command plus propagating one new SOP is a permanent capability for the rest of your life. So build the operator that doesn't sleep, then the 9 to 5 ends, because the operator is generating more than the salary. That's how you leave your job. Dominating your industry. Why this wins? Leadership is compounding reps. You don't dominate your industry by working harder than the operators with 8 hours. You dominate by being the only one whose context compounded for 12 months while everyone else restarted from scratch every week. Your scripts get sharper because the heat map is older. Your sales calls land because auto memory remembers every objection. Your fulfillment is faster because every SOP cross-references every other SOP. Your halal frame is uncopyable because it's been screened against 6 months of edge cases. The person who shows up consistently with a stack wins, even with 2 hours. So most operators have AI, few have context, and fewer still have the discipline. And that's the moat. So the full stack, every command, when and why. These is the full command: run my content briefing, run daily fulfillment briefing, process GTT inbox, CEO, EOD, resolve problem, propagate change. The output is you have your 3 content priorities set, your per client status plus overdue flags, inbox 0 plus strategic items flagged, CEO EOD logged plus 9 a.m. red reminders set, closest problem plus clear reminder, and every affected file synced in one pass. Stop chasing more hours, start compounding more context, and the leverage is already in your vault. So if you want this installed, the full leverage stack, vault commands, auto memory propagation is what will build you with you in the 6-week AI sprint. Just apply, and whoever feels Allah, He will make for them a way out. So yeah, that's the end of the call, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Inshallah, I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.